Good things about the guy to my left. What a start, at the time where we needed it the most. And, his competitive spirit shined today. Our guys just loved playing behind him. And obviously, he got us. I thought the first inning was great. He just rammed the ball in the strike zone, got a good quick inning, allowed our offense to score two. And from there on, I just felt like we played our best style of baseball, where we get a lead, we add to our lead, and we pitch and defend at a super high level, and that's what we did. But it all started with Austin.
Reminder to raise your hand, identify yourself and your media outlet, and we'll open up for questions for Austin.
John opened earlier. Austin, just what's worked for you these last two starts that were such a kind of departure from what your numbers were?
Yeah, I think just being able to put pitches in the zone and out of the zone when I need to. And just I've been feeling really good in my delivery, really good with what my pitchers are doing, where they're going to move, when they're going to move. And there's a lot of confidence that comes from that and, knowing your stuff and knowing yourself. So I've just tried to really, one of the things I work on with Coach Rozelle is just stay boring. I just try to, go out there and just put it in the zone, out of the zone, execute what I need to execute, and it's been working pretty well so far.
Hunter Shelton, Wildcats today. Austin, this has been kind of a build-up the last few weeks, getting you to this point where you're throwing warnings and making starts your last two times out. What has that process been like for you?
Well, it's been, it hadn't always been easy, but I've been getting in with our training staff, and they've been, really good at helping me out and trying to get my arm back and ready. And, had to take a little bit of time off after the SEC tournament, and our coaching staff was very supportive of that. And, just giving myself time to rest. I haven't really gone super far in a long time since high school. So just our coaching staff being supportive of, keeping my arm healthy, and our training staff always being here has helped me a lot.
Any more for Austin?
Yeah, Austin, Aaron Gershon, Cats Paws. West Virginia had scored 19 runs the first two games combined in this regional. What was kind of the plan of attack going into it, and how were you able to just keep them off balance for most of the afternoon?
Yeah, they've got their guys. They're top of the order guys. They're all really good. J.J. Weatherholt is a really good bat, and our game plan was just pitch to our strengths. We have what might not be their strengths, but hitting is really hard. So you just pitch to your good strengths, and you ram it in there, and you prove that they can hit it. And more times than not, good things are going to happen.
Guys, I'd like to add something about Austin. You've heard me talk about all year how unselfish our team is and how that started. You've heard me say it over and over about Mr. Barnhart's message to win for Kentucky. And Austin was one of the guys that, at the beginning of the year, we trained a bunch of different guys to be starters. And when the season started, Austin was one of the guys we just pulled aside and we told him, like, hey, Austin, you're not going to be one of the opening day starters, and that could change. And he wanted to start really bad. And this guy basically said, Coach, whatever we need to do to help the team win. And as the season went on, you noticed how we just kept giving him more and more and more innings. And I thought one of his breakthroughs was when we got through four. Was that right?
That's right.
He got to the fifth inning about a month ago, and it was just like he was so excited because, he had just been going 1 or 2 inning stints, and he had just thrown the ball so well that we just kept giving it to him. And earlier in the year, Austin had a conversation. We had maybe took him out when things got in trouble. And Austin pulled me aside and said, Coach, can I have a conversation with you? And I said, sure. He's like, Coach, I would like a little longer leash. He goes, if there's any way in the future, maybe you could let me finish some of the stuff that I get into. And said, Austin, you've been here 3 years. You've been super unselfish. Absolutely. And we kept giving him a little bigger leash, and he just kept getting better and better and better. And to his credit, it started with him and his heart being so unselfish for Kentucky. And at the very end of the year, when we needed the biggest start of the season, he gave it to us. But there's no question in my mind he was blessed because of how unselfish he was earlier in the year.
Thanks, Skip.
Any more for Austin?
Keith Farmer from LAX 18. Austin, what was that like that time earlier in the year and staying with it?
Yeah, I've always just kind of been like whatever needs to happen to help the team. And, like you said, of course, I want to be a starter, sure, everybody wants to. But, it was whatever needed to happen. And, I have a lot of people in my corner, and it was really tough to kind of break that 3.2 inning glass ceiling. I was like, man, if I can just get that last out to get the fourth innings, it doesn't, that's just, I got to break it. And, as soon as I did, I've gone 4, 5, 4, 6.2, 6. It's like I feel like I needed to just kind of prove to myself, and I knew everybody believed me. Coach believed me. I knew the whole team believes me. I just had to prove to myself, like, man, if I can just get that one more, the sky's the limit. So I really appreciate Coach having that conversation with me, and him trusting in me to give my best effort. And I believe in myself, and I believe in my whole team. But I just believe that when I'm out there, I'm the best competitor there is.
Kevin Kendra, Blue and Gold News. West Virginia got a couple barrel shots in the first inning, made the plays on those. How much does that go into everything you've been talking about? Hey, guys behind me are making plays, builds confidence that later in the game, hey, I can throw it in there, let those guys make plays behind me.
Yeah, it's incredible. When you feel like you have to be really perfect and, split the corners and make every single pitch, there's no freedom there. You feel like you're kind of trapped, and man, like if they get a hit, like you don't know what's going to happen. But our defense, our positioning was incredible today. Had a couple line shots, and our guys were just right there. And every other time a ball gets put in play, our defense, especially our infield, just vacuums. Our outfielders catch everything, our infielders catch everything. Hunter Gillen picks everything. It's such a really freeing feeling, and kind of goes back to like I can just shove it right in there. I can just throw everything right down the middle and let it break, and I know if they put it in play, our team's going to get an out.
Yeah, John Huang, NOLA Media. Austin, Coach Min, she does talk to us every time about the unselfishness of the team, but the other thing is he talks about the resiliency. I mean, what is it about this team? Is there any doubt in your minds that you guys can come back?
Never a doubt. I feel like we're like most teams. After a loss like yesterday, our locker room was pretty quiet, but we've got our leaders who step up in the group chat and they're like, "Hey guys, we got to come out with an edge. We know we can hang with any team, we can beat any team, but we can also be beat by any team." So when we just come out with our edge and just prove to ourselves, like, hey, we are the best team out there, I don't think anybody's going to beat us. And if we're down, we just ran out of time yesterday. That's all it was. So we got our innings back today, and our offense really showed up, and I hope we can keep showing up later tonight.
Austin, thank you.
Good job, Strick.
You're good to go.
Sick.
All right, questions for Coach? John.
Nick, I think if I'm looking at this right, Nolan Carneal had one at bat in May. Was that an injury? Was there something working with it? What made you put him in this position the last 2 years?
Well, James had been giving us good at-bats, and James's defense had been phenomenal. James is, every time the bat leaves his shoulder, he has a chance for an extra base hit. And we just felt like Nolan had been taking really good BPs. He's been a phenomenal teammate throughout this time. And Nolan, he's another one of these unselfish guys. We have a lot of really good players. You don't get to be in a position we're in without having really good guys on the bench waiting their turn. I think Austin is a perfect example of that. That guy's been in our bullpen helping us win games and get to this spot. And then he gets an opportunity to start last couple weekends, and now all of a sudden, look what he does. And Nolan's another really unselfish guy. And a lot of other teams, he's probably in their starting lineup every day. So we've allowed both of those guys to go back and forth, and Nolan's been really unselfish, taking great batting practices, and I guess he made us look really good.
Brian Milam, WKYT. You talked about the leash a moment ago. Also, you get early run support, which can make that leash a little bit longer in a game like this where you can save your bullpen maybe if this thing gets to Monday.
Yeah, and one thing, Austin, I overheard him and Gilly just talking about how Austin must have told him, "You get me some runs, and I'm going. I'll finish it if I can. Like, we're gonna save our guys. Get me runs." And we just kept adding. I thought there was 3 different times in the second, third, and sixth where we scored and then they didn't. Austin immediately came out and put up a 0 and allowed that to keep going. We had those 3 shutdown innings, and then ultimately we had 6 shutdown innings, and just allowed the offense to keep adding.
Nick, today, 7 hits with runners on, 4 runners in scoring position. That's been a thing that's kind of plagued you all throughout points in SEC play. Just finally breaking through in that regard, finding those hits and not having those zeros on the scoreboard. How big was that?
Yeah, I thought we had a couple really big hits. I thought Nolan's home run was big. I thought Gilly's RBI in the middle of the field was crucial. Ruben gave us some great at-bats, but our guys, we've just been barely off. We've just been missing our quality at-bat goal by 1 or 2 at-bats each game. It hasn't been far away. And, guys, West Virginia is an awesome team. They're coached by some great coaches. Randy Macy's an amazing coach. Steve Sabins went to a really cool college called Embry-Riddle. But they're just really good coach team. For us to be able to shut that team out, I mean, that really just says how well Strick and Mag and James, I thought James threw great. I mean, you don't just do that to that team. That offense, what they can do, man, they're a special team. I mean, they won 40 games. Phew. Our guys just executed at a super high level.
Two more. Yeah, John.
How do you feel about the pitching now going into the night, knowing that you need two more?
Yeah, I talked about this at the, we do a staff meeting every week, and I just complimented Richie Wells and Ryan DeVrant, because all you can ever ask at the end of the year is just, do you have your team healthy? And, to start the regional, we had every player on our team healthy, ready to go. And that is really hard to do. We've been in a lot of situations where, you just don't have some of the guys that you hoped for by the time you get to the end of the year. And our staff and our nutrition staff, everybody has done an amazing job to get the guys there. And you know what, John, we have all of our arms available. And I think you guys know this, in order to win a regional, especially to come out of the losers bracket, you have to have pitching depth. And that showed today. And we need to keep showing up.
Any more, Coach? All right. Thank you for
All right, thank you, guys.